I want to hit the ground running, but before I do, I want to say very special thanks to those few people that have supported the channel in the last week. We have on average around 52,000 views a month, and yet we can count the people on both hands that, you know, support the channel. There's more that people could do. You know, it's a struggle. It really is. Most people that have been following me for some years now know that you know, I'm more than resourceful with whatever funds I get. You know, I you know, try and squeeze every last drop out of them, and you know, I make the most of whatever I've got. At the end of the day, we're not NASA on this channel, yet we are developing a trimagnetometer station which will tell us the heading of the magnetic North Pole and track it around over 1,000 times per week, 24 hours a day. We'll also have a sensor which will measure the magnetosphere's strength, so that we can see not only the wandering magnetic North Pole, but we'll also see the decay of the magnetosphere that protects us on this Earth. These are the sorts of things that you're not seeing on the news. The data, especially from the ESA, the European Space Agency, and other agencies, is not forthcoming. You know, they classify it, especially the ESA, after a level 2. So, you know, what I'm saying is they're using your taxpayers' money, and yet they're giving you nothing in return, nothing meaningful at least. Whereas on this channel, the small donations that's raised goes into the development of the trimagnetometer station and the tracking of it, and you get a scientific theory as to what is going on, and that is more than what you're getting from these big organisations. You know, let's just look at what is taking place right now across the globe. Before we do, I just want to point out the importance of this. Guys, over the last 100 years that we've detected that the Earth is going through a magnetic reversal. Look at the pins almost in a perfect straight line. That's why I call it a vector. It's heading in a single direction. But take a look at this one here, because this one, although you can't see the date, it's off the you know, the viewer. It does say the 25th of the 6th, 2014, and that's over a 200-mile deviation southeasterly. So something within the last 2 years, or last year and a half, the 18 months, something has changed, and we're noticing it. We're noticing in the patterns of the jet stream, which we're going to have a look at in a few seconds, and we're noticing it in the strange anomalies that are taking place with these flash floods. Now, I've said in previous videos my reason for that. If you allow more cosmic particles into the atmosphere, you're going to then generate low-lying clouds through these particles forming, through water vapour forming on these particles, giving it a perfect condensation platform. And that's why we're getting flash floods the way we are. That's why in the UK cars are disappearing underwater. Over the last 2 weeks, fire services have been inundated with calls related to floods alone in central England, where I live, and other parts. So it's not just the UK that's suffering through these flash floods, it's other parts of the world. And like I've explained before, the important point about this is that floods devastate crops. We're at the moment in a pointed time where there are 7 billion people on this planet that need feeding, and we are pushing our technological advancement to its limits in order to maintain what we have right now for those 7 billion people. We are pushed with the resources, we're pushed with the food resources, etc. across the range, and it is only a matter of time before things start to severely deteriorate. Need I mention Venezuela and what recently happened this week in the United States with regards to the electronic system that handles food stamps for people, or food transactions for people that are on benefits in the States? That's where we're at right now, guys. The climate is changing. The jet streams are severely changing. The magnetic North Pole is in swing, and it is reversing. Let's take a look at some more details. So starting with the jet streams, over 1,000 miles more southerly than what they should be. And as a result, that Arctic cool air is being mixed with the tropical air, and as you can see, we don't have a defined Arctic jet stream and subtropical jet stream. In fact, not only is it 1,000 miles more further south than what it should be, it should be over in the northern region around 60 degrees. It's more like 35 degrees, and this is what's dropping that cooler weather over the South China Islands. If we just take a look over the Arctic Circle, you will see it's not uniform at all. So, like I say, this is something that they're not showing you regularly in the news, and it should be. In my view, this is massively important. This is global climate change and equally climate chaos. Now, it's not the first time I've talked about the sea surface temperature anomalies, but we're going to just revolve around the Earth in a minute, and you're going to see the extent of the warming that is taking place now. I know it's a bit odd why they chose yellow to signify the hottest, red slightly hotter than cooler than yellow, but that's the way they did it. It is a bit odd, but you can see that globally temperatures of the oceans are significantly warming up now. It might be 1 to 2 degrees in most regions, but this is significant, guys. This is what they was talking about by the Godzilla El Nino. This is going to have catastrophic effects on the food chain for most creatures in the sea, and not only is the magnetic North Pole shifting, which affects their navigation systems, but the diversity of food is changing in the oceans, and creatures that live on certain particular foods in there are having a knock-on effect. I mean, we've seen this year seals eating stones just through the frustration of starvation. This is because whatever the seals usually eat isn't there, because whatever fish the seals usually eat, they've not been able to get their food, if it's plankton or whatever that they've relied on. It's not been there for them, so it has a knock-on effect of the food chain, and it can affect us. The only difference is that we are pretty robust. We've got quite a range of foods, that puts us on the top of the food chain, and we think that we're immune to these slight changes at the moment, but it's only a matter of time, in my view, before certain varieties of fish start to become very expensive and more rarer. Not only this, if we look at the Earth as a flask, a thermal flask, and we're putting a hot jacket around the thermal flask, we're also insulating the core, and we could quite possibly be heating the core. If the internal core is heating up more, then it's not going to be helped by a jacket or an ocean that is warmer than usual. Now, people might say, well, there's only a 2 degrees Celsius change in the temperature of water, and that doesn't really, sound like a lot. But we're talking trillions of joules of energy that has warmed the oceans globally, and it does have a massive impact on a larger inertia. And we're seeing that with regards to the species of chemo autotrophs, zooplanktons, and other sea algae and things like that other species depend on. If there's a slight change in temperature in the ocean, it dramatically affects the output of these sea creatures and anomalies that reproduce, and as a direct result, as I said, it has a knock-on effect of the food chain. So it is significant, guys. I'm going to leave the video here. I always put a link down there for people to support. It'd be great if more people would support. Big thanks to those 2 people. Like I always say, there's always, for some reason, 1 or 2 people that make a small contribution, and I can't thank those people enough. It is good to know that there are more people like myself that share the enthusiasm and try and get the word out about this topic and the ongoing research that goes into it. It just consumes some of my time, and occasionally a donation makes it encourageable to continue doing it. I won't go on any further, guys. The link will be down there if you want to help support the channel and the website, of course. As always, coming up to the weekend, so enjoy your weekend. Try and have a good one, and as best as you can. And as always, guys, you be safe. And as always, bye for now.